everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Happy Zilliqa Day.
Yay.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today. Finally, the 18th of June is here. We have been planning for this for so long. And now that the day is finally here, I think you'll see that it couldn't have come at a better time. And I think when I say thank you, I'm saying not thank you just to our lovely, lovely employees, but also our partners, our champions, our supporters, everyone who has been following us for the last 2 years with so much faith and so much encouragement. We've had a crazy, crazy year, and I think we're excited to now be able to share that with you. I'm Aparna. I'm the communications manager here at Zilliqa, and I look forward to kickstarting this event with you today.
Thank you, Aparna. It almost feels like presenting the Eurovision Song Festival, right? Like a dual presentation.
I'll take your word on that.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but in Europe it's big. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm Mark Kamphuis. I'm head of brand and marketing, just appointed 2 weeks ago. And I want to give a big shout out to all the people who joined the live stream. There are probably hundreds, maybe thousands even. So to all of you, hodlers, traders, miners, the Zilliqa community, thanks for being with us. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our CTO and co-founder, Yauchi, to the stage.
Hello, everyone. How's everything? So, thanks for coming today. And together, we celebrate our 2nd anniversary of Zilliqa. I'm Yauchi, the co-founder and CTO of Zilliqa. It's very fortunate for us to have all of you and other community members to be with us and support us to bring sharding to life. In 2017, before we started Zilliqa, we all witnessed the scalability issues of the existing blockchain platforms. For example, when we send a Bitcoin transaction, it took us around 1 hour to confirm the transaction. At the same time, we had to pay as high as $50 as a transaction fee when network was congested. It was a similar story to Ethereum when CryptoKitties came out. Then people are curious that, is it possible we create a new blockchain platform which can achieve high throughput with only low transaction fees? Just like Visa or MasterCard we have right now. Our answer is yes. Since 2014, some of our team members have been working on solving the scalability issues for public blockchains. In 2015, we published the first research paper to apply sharding technology to solve the scalability issues of public blockchains in a top-tier conference. With 2-year involvement, we improved the protocol and we founded Zilliqa to deliver the first scalable blockchain platform using sharding. The beauty of this system is that we can achieve higher throughput with the increase of the network size. In short, more nodes in the network, higher TPS we can achieve. So when we talk about sharding, in concept, is to divide and conquer. First, we divide the network. All the nodes in the network are required to do 1 minute POW. After that, they will be randomly assigned to different groups we call shards, based on their POW submissions. And the 600 node shard size ensures that we have a reasonable security guarantee against various attacks in this system. Then we divide and conquer transactions. We have both payment and smart contract transactions in the system. These transactions will be assigned to dedicated shards based on some rules. And they will be processed in parallel in different shards. And this is the key factor of this concurrent execution, which lead to the linear scalability, which allow us to achieve higher throughput with more shards in the network. 2019, that is now, after 2 years development and tons of trials and experiments, finally, we delivered the very first mainnet with full-fledged sharding features in the world. Yeah. As you can see, we've already processed over 100,000 transactions in this network, and we already have over 20,000 unique addresses in this system. In January, we made our first payment transaction in this network. As you can see, the transaction fee is as low as 0.0010. And 2 weeks ago, we made our first smart contract transaction, which is written in our own smart contract language, Zilliqa. People may still have questions on, since there are a lot of existing blockchain platforms, right? Why we should choose Zilliqa over the other blockchain platforms? Here are the reasons. First, we can achieve short block time with immediate finality. Compared to Bitcoin's 1 hour confirmation time with 6 confirmation blocks, or 6-minute confirmation time for Ethereum. A user on Zilliqa platform, he can just confirm a transaction within 2 minutes without requiring any extra confirmation block. Second, on Zilliqa, we only require very low transaction fees. Compared to Ethereum's around $2 and 2 cents on $2 for the Bitcoin or 2 cents for the Ethereum. On Zilliqa, the transaction fee is much lower. Basically, it's at least 700 times less than Bitcoin or Ethereum's gas fees. And third, when we achieve this kind of scalability, we still return a decent decentralization compared to the other blockchains with only 20 nodes or less than 100 nodes. In our Zilliqa network right now, we have 2,400 nodes in the network. This give us a guarantee for the security of the entire system. Apart from that, since we launched the mainnet, our team provides the continuous improvement of the core protocol. We've already released 15 upgrades since the mainnet launch. Now, as you can see, we've already achieved a lot of milestones. But you may be curious about what's next. As a community-driven project, our Zilliqa team will continue listening to the community. We will soon finalize Zilliqa standards and Zilliqa improvement proposals to the community, and then like community to contribute to our core protocol and also the ecosystem. Meanwhile, we will also provide this mining Docker image on AWS Marketplace. So we will provide this convenient interface for miners and also developers to build their system using our image. And at the same time, we will continuously support our community projects with our 5 million grant program. In addition, this year, we will start to explore the payment services. And today, we'll start, later we'll announce that we will collaborate and partner with one of the biggest payment service providers in Southeast Asia to start this journey. Apart from that, yes, we will also start to investigate various staking mechanisms. From the DApp level, try to look at the existing decentralized financial services And at the same time, also on the protocol level, we try to apply some of the staking mechanisms as an incentive layer to bring more investors and developers to host the full nodes or seed nodes and further provide service to the community. The last but most important, we will be with our community. We are always grateful to have an amazing community like all of you. And it doesn't matter you are an investor, a developer, or just a fan of Zilliqa. Please be with us, and let's together make Zilliqa better. Thanks for your attention. Hope you enjoy Zilliqa Day. Next, I will pass it over to Amrit, who will demystify our smart contract sharding and also the progress of our own smart contract language, Sila. Thank you.
Okay, let me try this out first. Okay, so okay, thank you, Yaoqi. So my name is Amit Kumar. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer and President of Zilliqa. Yaoqi talked about smart contracts, which went live a couple of days ago on Zilliqa's mainnet. It may sound very easy to say that, okay, you just have to set some variable from true to false or false to true, and then everything goes live. If you look back, there have been a lot we had to face and we had to solve to be able to ensure that we can enable smart contracts on a sharded architecture like Zilliqa. And this talk is going to give you not the gory details, but at least at a very high level, what are the challenges that we faced and how we solved them. So please bear with me. So clearly, Zilliqa's architecture is very different from the way you see Ethereum. So Ethereum architecture is just a bunch of nodes that run consensus protocol. In Zilliqa, you have not a large network, but smaller subnetworks that run and process transactions in parallel. So one very obvious question is, let's say I have a transaction that goes to the network. Which shard is going to process my transaction? Okay, it's a very obvious question. You don't want this transaction to be processed by every single shard because then you're losing the entire benefit of sharding. So imagine this very simple transaction where a user Alice sends $5 to another user Bob. Now, which shard will process this transaction? Okay, this is a very fundamental question that you may ask yourself. Now, let's try a very simple strategy. So, and a very intuitive way of doing this would say, okay, I have this transaction. I can randomly assign this transaction to any shard. Okay, I don't care. And this randomness, for instance, could come from transaction hash. Okay. So in that case, I could say that, okay, Alice's transaction, I will look at the transaction hash, and based on the randomness, it may go to shard number 1. But this is problematic because it's very likely, or it's very possible that Alice may create another transaction that may create another hash that may correspond to shard number 2. And both these transactions can happen at the same time. Which means that if these two shards, they do not communicate with each other, it's very hard to reach a consensus on whether the user Alice has enough funds to transfer this money to two users so that you can detect this double spend. So clearly, it's a non-trivial solution, non-trivial problem to solve. But then if you think a little bit about it, it's not that difficult. Because, oops, sorry. So what you can do instead is you want to prevent double spends, right? So what you could do is you could look at all the transactions coming from a specific sender and group them and direct them towards one single shard. So that any transaction that comes from the same user will be handled in the same shard. And if at all, this user Alice tries to double spend, it can get detected. This double spend can get detected right within the shard. So this shard does not have to communicate at all with the second shard in parallel. So far, so good. So when you have transactions, payment transactions, you shard based on the sender. So you aggregate, you collect all the transactions that are coming from a single sender, and you send them to one shard. Now, can we extend this to smart contracts? And this is where the challenge comes in. So let's say we have a single contract here that takes money from users and gives tokens, some digital assets in return. And let's consider the most degenerate case where this contract has only one token left. And there are multiple people who are trying to buy this last token. if you assign transactions based on the sender, then what may happen is a user Alice will say, oh, I want to buy the last token, and here's my transaction. And this transaction may go to one shard. And at the same time, some other user, let's say Bob, may make a similar transaction saying that I want to buy this last token from this contract. And this transaction may go to a different shard. Now, the problem is that because these shards don't communicate, the first shard will say, OK, I have sold the token to Alice. The second shard will say, I have sold this token to Bob. Now, how do you know, without communicating across shards, what's the global state? So who owns that final token? So clearly, assigning transactions that touch smart contracts cannot be done based only on the sender. It doesn't work. So how do you fix it? Well, there have been solutions out there developed by and proposed by different committee members. And one very trivial, or I would rather say one very standard solution is to employ what's called locking mechanism. And it comes from programming languages, generally speaking. So let's say you have a contract, which is basically a program, and there are two people or two users trying to touch the state of this contract. What you could do instead is if you can lock the state of this contract for one user. So you could say that, OK, while this transaction is processing a transaction coming from one user, this contract will not process any other transaction coming from any other user. So you're blocking the state for one specific user. And this way, you're preventing any sorts of funny conflicting cases that may arise. The problem is that it limits in some way the parallel processing capacity of a network because you're locking the state, and so no one can access that state in any form. The other problem is that the whole protocol is very complex because when you are locking a state, you're actually trying to run a consensus on the fact that this account has indeed been locked. And when you unlock the state, you again have to run another round of consensus. So the whole protocol becomes way more complex to deal with. And this is where, now this whole thing stopped. OK, now this is where we try to innovate. And the idea that we're trying to employ is what we refer to as deterministic transaction assignment. So we'll provide a very simple yet elegant solution that allows you to handle smart contracts in a sharded architecture and yet not make the protocol too complex. OK, so let's go with this to understand how it works. Before we delve into the details of how this whole deterministic transaction assignment works, let me somehow convince you that if you are a part of the network, you would roughly see these three types of transactions at a very high level. So you would see transactions which are regular payments, so one user trying to send money to another user. You will see the second type, which is a user trying to call some function in a contract. Now, an example of this would be when you transfer your tokens, your ERC20 tokens, to someone else. So what you essentially are doing is calling a function transfer, and that transfer function takes your balance from a map and puts it in somebody else's map. So you just make a call to a contract, and that entire processing just involves that. The third one is slightly more involved, where you may call a contract, and that contract may call another contract, and so on. And in the end, potentially, it may send some money to another user. Okay? So at a very high level, this is what the network would see. These are the sort of transactions that you would see when you're a node in the Zilliqa network. An example for type 3 would be, imagine yourself being a user, and you want to book a hotel using a travel agent contract. So you will make a call to a travel agent contract, and that travel agent contract may make a call to a hotel contract, and that hotel contract may transfer money to the CEO of that hotel agent company. So roughly speaking, these are the transactions that you'd see, and let's see how the sharded network should deal with these transactions and how they can deal with these transactions. OK. So what we'll do is we'll have, let's assume that we have only two shards in the network. And there is a special shard that we call the DS shard. So it's just a special shard that will have some different responsibility compared to the other shards. So when you see transactions of type 1, so which is a regular payment, they will always be handled in these two regular shards. And if you see anything of type 3, the more complicated transactions that go to smart contracts, they will always be handled in the DS shard. Okay, that's the basic rule. Type 2 are slightly more complicated, so you will have to handle them in shard 1 and shard 2 and the DS shard. And I will explain to you how that works. But note that type 3 always in the DS, type 1 and type 2 over regular shards. And remember, type 1 and type 2 are basically payment transactions, so you can always assign them based on the sender's address. Okay? So handling type 1 is very easy. Handling type 3 is very easy. The only complicated case is type 2. And I will show you how you can handle type 2 transactions. And here is how you do it. So here is my type 2 transaction where a user tries to make a call to an ERC20 contract. And in order to assign this transaction, you won't just look at the sender's address, but you'd also look at the recipient, which is the contract. So if both the sender and the recipient, let's say their addresses end with a 0, you will send to shard number 1. And if both ends with a 1, you send to shard number 2. And if one ends with a 0 and the other ends with a 1, or the other way around, you send to the DS shard. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, that the DS shard will always process transactions after the regular shards have finished processing. And this is very critical because otherwise this DS shard will create the same problematic use case where you have conflicting states. So you want this shard to process only after these shards have finished processing. And basically that's it. So payment transactions are simple, handled in the shards. Type 2 transactions this way, and type 3 are in the special shard DS. And that's it. It will work out. And there's no more complications around locking or running extra round of consensus for that matter. Now, the question is, OK, how well does this strategy do in practice? So note that you have 2 shards and 1 special shard, the DS shard. Right? Now, you want to make sure that the DS shard doesn't get overwhelmed in some form. So you don't want, you want as many transactions to go and get processed in the shards, and not too many should go to the DS. So this is a percentage of transactions. This is a kind of plot that shows you what is the percentage of transactions that normally should get handled at the shard level. So if you look at just one, if your network has only 1 shard, then everything basically goes to this shard. Okay, so you have 100% goes to the shard, which is good. If you move further up, which is number of shards going to 4, which is the current configuration on the mainnet, you will see around 60% of transactions of touching smart contracts that will be handled in the shard at the shard level, and around 40% will go to the DS. So clearly it works, and it works pretty well in practice. Now the question is, can we improve this? And this is exactly our future work that we are currently working on. And there are a bunch of things that you can do. You can look at how a user can convince the network that, look, here's my transaction, and this transaction in no way can create conflict with any other transaction. So you can process them in parallel in a very safe manner. Can you think of ways in which you can optimize some of the type 2 and type 3 transactions so that you could make sure that a lot of them will not go to the DS and will stay at the shard level? So OK, this is the first part of my talk where I tried to kind of give you a very high-level idea of how Zilliqa's sharded architecture handles smart contracts, which is not so trivial. This is the second part, which I call Zilla is fun. Fun because it can do a lot of fun stuff, but fun also in the sense that it has a lot of functional programming elements into it. And I will show you one example of how this functional programming elements that's embedded in Zilla, it gives you a very nice tool that you can use. So when we decided to design Zilla, there were a couple of design principles that we followed from the very start. So we knew that there were a lot of programming language research that was done in the last 20, 30 years. And there were a lot of good elements into it that we could somehow incorporate into a real-world language that could be used on an architecture like Zilliqa's. So I put a lot of PL theory into practice. And what happened with this is that we were able to make a good balance between the kind of contract that you can write in practice, so the expressivity of the language, and how much your contracts remain auditable. So how much you can reason about the correctness and safety of your contract. And in the end, you'll be able to talk about, can you guarantee about the formal correctness, and can you give formal guarantees about the correctness of your contracts, correctness and safety of your contracts. So I'll give you a quick example of a contract that is buggy. So So it has a bug in this contract, and I will show you a tool that we had developed that leverages the way the language has been designed, and it will be able to detect this bug. So here's my famous contract, a crowdfund contract. So this contract is very simple. It takes money from users, and then the project owner can take that money eventually. If there's, so people can deposit money, and then if you're not interested in this project anymore, you don't believe in this project anymore, then you can take your money back. So you could say, okay, give my money back. I don't want to invest in your project anymore. But the problem is that there's a bug here where instead of giving you the right amount that you contributed initially, it's actually giving you the counter which counts the number of people who have contributed in this crowdfunding contract. Okay, so this is the bug here. Instead of sending the right amount, it's sending you the counter, which basically counts the number of people who have contributed to this contract. So the bug seems very simple, but this simple typo can create a mess. So imagine you contributed $100 million in this contract, and this contract had only one user who contributed, which was you. And when you withdraw, instead of getting $100 million, you got $1. So it can be devastating. So you want to make sure that some of these typos actually get detected in a very easy manner. So let's see. And here's the tool. The tool is pretty easy to use. So it's a standard binary. Sorry, the binary is hidden here. So here's the binary, and you pass your contract here. And then it will give you some important information on how the tool processes your contract. So this tool is called cash flow analyzer. And basically what it does is it looks at your contract and tries to understand whether you're using money in the right manner. So in order to do that, it will look at all the variables and see, okay, is this variable something that handles money in any form? If it does, it will tag that variable as money. If not, it will tag it as no money. So it's something that doesn't handle money. Now, clearly, if you look at the two variables that we have here, one is count and the other is backers. So backers is supposed to keep a record of who contributed how much amount of money. So this is clearly a map of money, so because it handles money, it stores money. On the other hand, count is basically a counter. So it's just supposed to keep a counter. It's an integer value. It's not supposed to maintain money of any sort. And it clearly says if you go back to your contract, and this is where the bug is. So instead of sending the right amount of money, you're actually sending the counter. So the counter variable actually becomes now money. And this is where the bug is. And all of this was, we were able to build these sort of tools because of the fact that the language has been designed in a very fairly modular and straightforward manner. And basically, that's it. So we do have plans to work on improving some of the features that Zilliqa has. The one very critical thing that we're looking at is to improve the execution performance of Zilliqa. We also want to add the privacy layer because we feel that in many different cases, privacy can actually be very important. And obviously, we are looking at the formal verification angle that Zilliqa as a language enables. That's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, Amrit. Don't you just love it how Amrit always makes this look so easy? I think we perfectly understood what he said, right? Next on stage is our grand manager, Hanwan. Hanwan, join the stage.
Thanks, Mark. Hope you guys enjoyed the lecture that was done by Professor Amrit. Okay, so I'm the grants manager. I'm not a professor, so I'll be sharing with you guys more human stuff. And at Zilliqa, we have always been about fulfilling one mission, and that is to combine the world-class research capability that's provided by all our talents here and world-class working ethics in order to bring progress and not hype to this industry. And we do that with a can-do attitude, Singaporean style, and with an unwavering passion to innovate. And that's what our founders has promised since the inception of Zilliqa and what we as a team promises to do in future. So how do we want to scale the community? And we've been doing so every step of the way, trying to travel around the world to spread this culture as much as possible. And we have tried to participate in all the conferences, attend all the events, created multiple workshops in multiple countries, and even a hackathon in London. And that is all in order to try to expand our scope of work to a wider community so that everyone can share this progress together. And of course, we also have this grants program that have been running almost over a year. And we've committed up to 46 different projects in this grants program. And they have all had a product launch, almost. And we have a completion rate of 78%, which is unprecedented in any of the grants programs in the blockchain space. And blockchain is always a diverse and global initiative. And we are proud to say that we have almost 17 different countries covered, 3 different continents span over. And that's, of course, very good for the ecosystem and also very good for the adoption of Zilliqa, because more dApps are actually building on top of Zilliqa, more tools and libraries are built here. But also, at the same time, for the grants manager, which is myself, I didn't manage to get any sleep ever since I started this job. But the sacrifice is actually very much worth it. And why, you may ask, is because out of this sacrifice and collaboration with all these hardworking individuals that's in the grant program, we have managed to create so many different products that you guys have been using ever since its launch. This is just a sneak peek of what is possible with the Zilliqa Ecosystem Grants Program, and it has only been a year since it has been launched. And we are looking forward to scale this even further in the future. For this day, because it's Zilliqa Day, we want to celebrate some of the past achievements that have been done by our grantees. And one of them is Ashla, which is the creators of ViewBlock. Many of you have been using Explorer to track your transactions, to basically see the miner history, miner statistics. And they are trying to provide agnostic tools and services to the entire blockchain space and not just for Zilliqa. And who are they? They are just 2 guys. You'll be quite surprised that they actually function that well because they never sleeps. And I work really close with them because even though they are from the US, I'm from Singapore, we don't sleep, so it's fine. Yeah. Tommy is the CEO of this initiative, and Balthazar is the CTO. Tommy is from San Francisco, and Balthazar is from France. And how did they met each other? They met each other at San Francisco in a private investment group. And ever since then, they want to create better tools and services for the entire blockchain space. And one of these initiatives they proposed to us when they came to us was that they want to create something for Zilliqa ecosystem. And out of that, we wanted to fulfill this mission to combine our efforts and talents and use this very quick feedback loop in order to create the best solution of all. And that is the result of this collaboration. That's what you have been using ever since the mainnet has launched on 31st of January. And of course, if you really want to secure, the second product is that if you really want to secure your funds in the cold storage, you have always been worrying about losing your private keys. So what if I tell you that you have a solution out there that's a keyless solution? You don't have to remember the private key, which is like 40 hex string long, and you can just use the server and your Face ID on your phone in order to secure all your funds. But let's not hear it from me. Let's hear it from the Zengo guys.
In the world of cryptocurrency, managing your assets is a nightmare. You might choose the convenience of an exchange, but exchanges are notoriously insecure and frequently hacked. Or you may prefer the security of a wallet. But if you lose your private keys, your funds are gone forever. All this can leave you feeling frustrated and overwhelmed because there's no solution that's both simple and secure. That's why we built Zengo, the world's first keyless crypto wallet. With our breakthrough cryptography, there's no private key to worry about. Instead, your security is distributed between your device and Zengo servers. So even if we get hacked or you lose your wallet, your assets are always safe. Zengo is also built for simplicity. It's fast to set up and easy to use, the way a crypto wallet should be. Zengo, your crypto, simply secure.
Hello and a happy Zilliqa Day for everyone. My name is Tal Berry and I'm one of the founders of Zengo. In Zengo we developed a mobile wallet which is both extremely secure and simple to use. And apparently Zilliqa liked our technology, and we were given a grant to implement similar solutions, threshold signature for Zilliqa blockchain, and supports Schnorr signature, Schnorr threshold signature. And we did just that, and just recently we had released an open source project, and I would like to take you through a short demo of it. On the upper side of the screen, you can see the threshold signature server holding one secret share. On the lower side, you can see the threshold signature client. And first, we will show you that we have a Zilliqa address. We had already created it, and also sent some test money to it. You can see it in the balance. Now we're going to send it using threshold signature cryptography and have both the client and the server sign it together. So you have to specify, of course, the from address, the to address, and so on. And so we're filling in the from, and this will be the to address now, and the amount we want to send. And right away you can see that both the client and the server were involved in sending it. Now we'll see if it's recorded on the Blockchain Explorer, and you can see a threshold signature sent to a Zilliqa blockchain.
All right, that's from Zengo. So this is really good solution for you because it's simple and secure, and you don't have to go through the hassle of memorizing the 12 of 24 words, mnemonic words, or even your private key. You can just use the Zengo server and use the phone that is within your palms. And that's available in iOS right now and also in Android. And Zilliqa support will be coming up in July. But that's for just securing cold storage of funds. What if you require something in order to access all the decentralized applications that's built on top of Zilliqa blockchain? Therefore, you need something, a porter to the decentralized world. And that is what Moonlit is about, providing the porter to the decentralized world in any of the Zilliqa blockchain or Ethereum blockchain. So let's hear from Moonlit.
Hi, I'm Adrian.
I'm Tibi.
I'm Adrian, and we are building Moonlit, a portal to the decentralized world.
It all started 2 years ago with cryptoland.tech, a blockchain technical community, with the main purpose of educating both engineers and product people.
We realized that it was not enough to discuss about blockchain, and we wanted to become hands-on. We scanned the grant programs, and we realized that the Zilliqa grant program was a perfect match for us, and basically this is where we started to build Moonlit as a product.
From beginning, we've designed Moonlit to be a blockchain agnostic cryptocurrency wallet with the main purpose to integrate as many blockchain as we can.
It has been an amazing journey so far. In the past 12 months, we went through several development phases and we delivered some basic features. As well, one of our main goals was to make Moonlit secure, and we've been audited by some third parties.
Other features include address readability, integrations with naming services such as ZNS and ENS, cloud backup, and hardware wallet integrations.
As well as smart contract integration for Zilliqa.
We plan to provide a system where anyone can build a decentralized app that can be embedded in Moonlit.
So we will provide core API for decentralized app to integrate easier with the blockchain. There is no need to build from scratch. Moonlit will provide core features, and the decentralized app will create only the user interface.
Long story short, Moonlit is going to become a portal to decentralized world where any use case can be built on top of it. In order to make steps towards this vision, we need a full-time established team and basically raise funds.
A big thank you to all Zilliqa team members, and enjoy Zilliqa Day 2019.
There's Moonlit, the porter to the decentralized world. And you may ask, what kind of decentralized world, what kind of DApps are available on Zilliqa blockchain right now? And there's one very interesting one that's coming up, and that is Unstoppable Domains, decentralized domains for everyone. And I'm very happy to share with you that Bradley Kam, the co-founder of Unstoppable Domains, is here today together with us to share with us more about what this service is about. Let's welcome Brad.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brad. I'm co-founder at Unstoppable Domains. And first of all, I would like to say a big thank you to the Zilliqa Foundation, and in particular Han Wen, for believing in us very early on. So greatly appreciated. So Unstoppable Domains. We build domains on blockchains. There we go. So previously, I was co-founder of a company called Talkable, a Y Combinator-backed company, and 3 out of 4 of our co-founders were part of that founding team as well. Our CTO, Braden, at 21 years old, has already received grants from both the Ethereum Foundation and the Zilliqa Foundation. Oops. So Unstoppable Domains, we are a registry business, similar to VeriSign, which owns .com, except we build domains on blockchains. And we sell domains directly to users at our website, unstoppabledomains.com. You can go right now, you can put a domain in your cart, you can check out, and you can purchase. Blockchain domains have 2 unique features that regular domains don't. The first is that you can replace your cryptocurrency addresses with a single human-readable name. You can attach your Zilliqa address, your Bitcoin address, your Ethereum address, all of your cryptocurrency addresses to this single domain. Then you can tell me, here's my domain, I can type it into a wallet, and I can pay you. I no longer need to know what your cryptocurrency addresses are. I don't even need to know which cryptocurrency you want to receive. They also work for uncensorable websites. The domain is an asset sitting inside of your wallet, controlled by you with your private key, and you can store content on a decentralized storage network like IPFS. With these 2 things combined, you have a website that only you can put up and only you can take down. This is a platform for global free speech. Anyone in the world will be able to publish and transact without fear of censorship. And this is already a big industry. If you look at the traditional domain industry, there's 350 million domains. There's $20 billion worth of digital assets. And the blockchain domain industry is going to be even bigger. You're going to have 350 million domains for businesses, but you're going to have another 2 billion domains for consumers, because everyone in this room and everyone in the world is going to have a blockchain domain too. And that's what you're going to use to receive money. So I wanted to introduce you to .zil, our first domain extension. It's built on the Zilliqa blockchain and in partnership with the Zilliqa Foundation. We started pre-orders in March, and so far we've had more than 10,000 people register domains, and they're registering more than one. They're registering their personal name, they're registering their business, and maybe some other names that might be relevant in the future. So coming up, we have our auction. You can go right now to unstoppabledomains.com/auction, and you can see the top domains that people are watching, that people are interested in. On June 27th is when it begins. So before I go, I have one last thing that I wanted to mention. So far, we have only been registering English character domains, but because this is a blockchain domain system, any type of characters are possible. And so, we are getting ready to make available Mandarin language domains, Korean language domains, and Japanese language domains on a first-come, first-served basis. So if anyone is interested, please come talk to me after. And if you'd like to learn more about Unstoppable Domains, please come talk to me. I'm going to hand it back to Juan. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. I'm excited to get my domains, which is hanwen.zoo. I hope nobody will auction it away from me. So, yeah, now we talk about unstoppable domain names, a portal to decentralized world, a way to secure funds without any private keys. These are all methods for you to scale adoption of the blockchain industry in a way, because users basically abstracts all this kind of complexity from the users. But also at the same time, For the grant program, we also want to scale this, the way that we take intakes and also process all the grant handling processes. And one way we do it is, right now, we have a grant streaming system. We split the grant applications into 3 different tracks. The infrastructure track is catered for developers to build open source tools and libraries for the wider community. And we have the innovation track that's catered to entrepreneurs who want to build decentralized applications on top of Zilliqa. And the research track, because you want to get the chance to work with Professor Amrit. Yeah, you get to work with us to basically tackle all the most pressing issues on the blockchain space. And this sounds very much like the Singapore streaming system that was abolished, but I feel that the streaming system is actually quite useful. So, with this streaming systems ready, you might ask, how do we actually scale it properly? Because the manpower is still 1 person right now. That's why we need to have a partner. And we are very proud to announce that we are going to start an accelerator program for the innovation track. For all these entrepreneurs who wants to come in and apply for the grant program, they could go through this accelerator program, which starts in Q3 this year. And our partner for this endeavor is Longhash. They are the global and most recognized incubators program in the entire blockchain space, I would say. In Southeast Asia, they're extremely prominent. And I'm very glad to share with you guys that Emma Cui, who is the CEO of Longhash Singapore, is here together with us today to share with us more details on what this accelerator program is about. Please join hands to welcome Emma. Thank you.
Thank you, Han-Wen. First of all, congratulations to the Zilliqa team and Zilliqa community. I think we're neighbors, so we've seen the progress of you guys for the last year and a half. We're extremely impressed, and finally, we find an opportunity to work with you guys, and we're really pumped. So, as we're celebrating the 2nd anniversary of Zilliqa, and also many key milestones you guys have achieved, in addition to the grant program that Han-Wen and Zilliqa team has put in place, as well as dedicated researchers and some of the smartest brains they have in place to provide dedicated technical support to the projects that are going to build on Zilliqa. What Longhash has in store for you guys would be, firstly, we will be able to bring in a customized 3-month program. We're going to help a selected batch of projects, probably around 5 to 6 projects. We're going to take you through business model, technical consulting, one-on-one mentoring, and we're really going to help those projects in building MVP and also testing out their solution within a time frame of 3 months. Also, Longhash will be able to bring in a comprehensive list of mentors and investors that are ever expanding. So our mentors will fall into 3 categories. We have blockchain entrepreneurs, such as CTO of Gnosis, Stefan. We also have industry veterans coming from banking, insurance, different verticals. We also have mentors coming from sort of successful blockchain investor space. And also, we have 6 offices across the globe. We have Hong Kong, Singapore, Tokyo, Zag, Berlin, and Shanghai. So this is it. We have the Build on Zio Hive program is going to launch tonight, and we're going to start to accept applications tonight. So together, let's build the Zio economy, and hopefully, we're going to get some sleep over that 3 months.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Emma. So this comes to the end of our presentation, and let's together build on Zio, build with Zio, and bring progress and not hype to this industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Han-Wen. I think we really all enjoyed learning about how Zilliqa is working with other members of the community to help them grow their ideas and realize what they can do with their technologies. We'll now call on stage Sophia, who's the Vice President of Business Development. She'll be able to tell us a little bit more about our focus going forward.
Thank you, Aparna. Okay, before I introduce myself, I just want to say it feels amazing standing here on the stage, facing a full house here today, because I was a dancer for a couple of years, so I used to perform every year on the stage. Like I don't really talk on the stage, but I do something here. But every year, I would tell myself that this is the last year. I'm not going to do this anymore because it's like too tiring. But on the next year, I will be on the stage again. It happens all the time, every year for a couple of 10 years. So I just want to share this because it is the moment where you come up on the stage, where you see the full house, you see all the supporters. Then that is where you realize all your hard work is worth it. So that actually makes you keep coming back. So it's the same for today. Tonight, here I'm standing here, seeing all the supporters, friends, partners here, and also, of course, lovely colleagues here. And that is where I realize actually all the hard work, all the sleepless nights, and all the bug fixes, all the efforts are really, really worth it. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Okay, sorry, I got it. Okay, so again, my name is Sofia. I'm currently heading the business development for Zilliqa. And before I start, I just want to share a personal story. So when I grew up, I had the privilege of interacting with people from all over the space. I mean, all over the countries in the whole world. So, and that is where I was lucky to be exposed to the latest trend, the latest product, the latest things all over the world. So, and whenever I discover a new thing, I will go around and tell people to try it as well. For example, I would ask my grandparents to listen to K-pop music or Backstreet Boys. Or I would force my dad to eat Swiss chocolates because I love it, but he hates it. So as a kid, I keep on discovering new things, and I keep on going around and tell people to try the same new things as well because I thought it's cool. And every time I just get this very suspicious response, like, why are you asking me to try that? I don't really love it. So how does it feel? It feels exactly the same of me today, going around and tell people to use blockchain in their business. So I guess what I have learned or what I have observed along these years is we sometimes are so focused in terms of building the tech, building the new technology, building the solution. And we tend to bring this solution. We tend to think, hey, this is a solution. Blockchain is the solution, or decentralization is the solution. But what is the problem? So why don't we go back to the fundamentals and ask ourselves, what is the real business pain points? So in Zilliqa, we constantly talk and work together with our industry partners, including large enterprise as well as young startups, to really understand what is the real business pain points and to build the real world use cases, especially for applications that require high throughput. So one of the examples is in digital advertising. The whole advertising space has been calling for solutions for transparency and as well as efficiency. So Zilliqa has been working with Mindshare since last year. It's been over a year. And last month, we just successfully completed our first phase pilot run together with PepsiCo, as well as, of course, Mindshare, and to achieve increasing our efficiency by 28%. So unfortunately, Mindshare couldn't be here today with us because the entire advertising space is currently at Cannes for another event. So, but we do get the global head, the global blockchain solution head from Mindshare to send us a message.
Our advertising industry is going through a major trust deficit, and we always thought that a blockchain technology can help solve the problem. And there were a lot of questions about whether this technology has the scale and the speed and the throughput. And when we met up with Zilliqa almost a year back from now, we felt that the new technology has the potential to solve that issue. And over the past 1 year, we have been working very closely with the team. And Project Proton was the first outcome of that. And that has shown great promise. The industry has woken up to the potential of Project Proton. And there are a lot of questions that has come up today. And we are now working with your team to see what we can do across identities, payment, and supply chain reconciliation. It's been a terrific, great journey, and I really wish Zilliqa all the very best on their second birthday, and here is to making and breaking more records and creating bigger history. All the very best, Zilliqa.
Okay, thank you, Jiman. His name is Jiman. He's the Global Blockchain Solution Lead from Group M. We also wish WPP is having a great trip over in Cairns. So the second industry focus we have here in Zilliqa is around security tokens. So earlier this year, Zilliqa, together with 2 other partners, we have launched the Southeast Asia's first member-driven exchange, which is aimed to tokenize and trade private shares, including security tokens. It's called HG Exchange. And the third industry vertical that we do here in Zilliqa is around gaming. So we are actually going to release our 2 games in the next months. So today we also have like the creators of the 2 games. One is Ocean Rumble and another one is Super Players. They are here joining us today. So I will leave the talk for the gaming to Nerik, the founder of Ocean Rumble.
Hi everyone. Thank you Zilliqa for having here today to share with you about the game we are working on. So I flew in today from Vietnam, and we are very excited to being here to introduce this to you. So basically, that I believe everyone have been knowing that the cryptocurrency craze has taken the world by storms, and it starts the wave of the blockchain gaming. However, there's still a lot of barriers that block the mainstream audience from playing this game. And we are building the Ocean Rumble with that in mind to solve the problems. So first of all, we want to build the game that is mobile first, and players can spend like 3 to 5 minutes of their free time to play every day. So it's very accessible. And also the gameplay, we want to make it very easy to pick up. However, it will be difficult to master. And as people play more and more, they find it more exciting for them to progress. Next would be we want the game also to be friendly to non-crypto users, and we would offer like free assets for people who even have zero knowledge of blockchains to be able to start the game. And then we want to gradually teach them how to use blockchains, how to make transactions, and we not force them to make any transaction if they wish not to. And last but not least, we are an experienced team that built Ethereum, which was the highest playable game in the second half of 2018. And we have learned a lot of lessons from building that game, and we wish to bring, incorporate those lessons into this game. Then let's zoom into a bit into a gameplay. So the gameplay will consist of the heroes and minions, where all the players will own. And they will actually develop in terms of abilities and also the skins that will help to increase the values of the assets and help people to recognize those values in terms of trading. For the gameplay, it's actually revolved around very simple PvP duo arena, which is very common nowadays, that you mostly see in like Supercell games like Clash Royale and so on. So each team in each game you see you face another opponent, and your team consists of 1 hero and 4 minions, and in each round you will direct your minions the way they go to attack the other team. How you win, it will be either to eliminate all the minions of the opponent team or kill the heroes. So the games allow for players to develop a lot of strategies, as each minions can play different roles in the team. They can either play tank or damage dealer or support based on their stats, and also they can have different abilities that can boost the allies' powers or or like reduce the opponent's strength. So here's the very quick demo of how the game will be look like, and this is very basic version of the game. So in each round, you indirect the opponent will does at the same time. So you have to guess how the opponents will play, and then you try to overplay them. And the game will end when like your opponent's heroes are defeated, or you can kill all the opponent's minions. So you can either choose to defend, attack, or in, or you can balance out between defending or attack. So there's a different strategy that you can play out. With that in mind, like we can achieve, like we can bring this game closer to the mass audience cannot be achieved without the help of Zilliqa blockchain. So the first benefit that Zilliqa blockchain will help us to do is like to help user have all their assets protected, and they can have very easily they can trade between each other, and they can switch between trading and then playing constantly, which is a major improvement from the Ethereum network. And the last but not least is that we would build in the economics in the games that allow people to earn tokens and incentivize them to play, get the values, and they can either reinvest in the games or invest in other things elsewhere. So here's a very quick overview of roadmaps over the next 9 months. So next month we'll start our pre-sale, which will run around 1 week, that we offer very limited minions to the crypto owners. So we want to target the crypto owners to get the first few players to learn about the games and get some assets from the games. And over the next 3 months after that, we release the arena for them to play and then market for them trading. And then over the next 6 months after that, we will keep adding on new features, enriching the gameplays, and also allow people to find different ways to increase their values, like allow them to get more items from games or teach the minions the abilities to help them stronger. So basically, that's all for me. Thank you very much for allowing me this chance to share with you.
Thank you, Najik. So together we have another very special guest with us. He's the co-founder of Krypton. He just flew in this morning from Beijing, and welcome, Tom.
Hello everyone, I'm Tom. Happy Zilliqa Day. And I'm the co-founder of Krypton, and it's my honor to speak here. My topic is to build a next generation games on Zilliqa. First of all, we will talk about the blockchain games, and then we will show what we have done on Zilliqa. As we say blockchain games, we haven't to ignore these two games, CryptoKitties and the Formal 3Ds. What about these games? Maybe the CryptoKitties show us the imagination of the non-fungible tokens, and the Formal 3Ds let us know the power of the contract. These are not the common games, but maybe they can call the contract games. They can call the contract games because they, although they have successful for a long time, for sometimes, and attract a lot of people, but they didn't last for long. And what is the reality of the blockchain games now? Let me show you some statistics in the depth readers. We can show the top of the blockchain games is not as successful as expected, because the top one may have only 4,000 players daily, and for the common games, maybe this players count may multi 10,000, 1,000. So why does the blockchain games not success as we expected? I found the three reasons. I found the three main reasons about that. First of all, I think the blockchain games is hard to use. For me, when I just play CryptoKitties, I had a lot of time to download the MetaMask and buy Ethereum from the exchange. But when I just finished and when I just prepared I just prepare all the scenes to play it, but I found it's just no fun, has no fun, because I can just only to click some things, and I haven't found how fun is it. And another thing is that is a low TPS. For the TPS, we have to see for the blockchain games, for the blockchain techniques, it is very inefficient for the blockchain technique is very inefficient for games, because the value, the storage, and the calculus is very expensive. But for the games, we have never stopped to explore the limitation of the hardware. From the beginning FC machines to the current VR technique, we just want to exhaust the hardware's limitation. So that it is a contradict about that. So what we want to say is that the blockchain game, if we said the blockchain game is a contract game, I think it will never be success because the blockchain technique is never prepared for the game. But if we change another way, we just change another way. We don't use contract to create game. We create a game and we think how and then we think how the blockchain technique will change the game. Oh, that makes the scenes more. That makes the scenes more interesting. I will show you what our games later, and before this, I will talk about more about the TPS. For the TPS, for TPS, I know there are many projects, so they have reached maybe 10,000 or even more TPS, and I think there is no silver bullet in the computer science engineers and computer science areas. So if you want to this high TPS, you must sacrifice some things. So that it means you cannot keep this triangle means you cannot keep decentralized security and scalability, keep both of the three. So many other projects maybe lose the scalability or the maybe lose the decentralized to keep the low response time. But I like the Zilliqa ways, because Zilliqa ways just Zilliqa use a sharding technique to keep the decentralized and security. And then, although it cannot manage the response time from 1 minute to 1 second, but as the users grows, it can keep stability, and it will never lose it can always ensure the transactions can be confirmed in less than 2 minutes. So the stability is very important for. That is Zilliqa's. That is the way I like about Zilliqa's, because when I just want to use the technique, blockchain technique for our games, we have we have searched a lot of projects, and I think Zilliqa way is I like the Zilliqa way because it keeps the POW, and it keeps the POW. And we have heard some other constants like the POS and the DPoS and other things. But for now, the Bitcoin's POW is the only blockchain which has been a lot of transactions tested, and other consensus POS and DPoS has never been such widely used. So I think for the game Fortune, it is very important to use POW now. And for the safety, I have wrote Zilliqa language these days. I have to say, after I use this language, I think it is powerful because when I use it, I lose it minus the chance I wrote something wrong, because it the language is designed just for the safety, so it can help you to minus the chance that you made mistakes. So that's what we choose Zilliqa to build our games. And then I will show what our games is like. Sorry, no, not in the. Let's go back to the what I have mentioned before. We are not the contract game. We are the game who use the blockchain technique. So what's the difference? The difference is that we are a game. Our game is a roguelike games, and I think the blockchain technique will enhance this the original roguelike games experience. For the roguelike game is about random adventure and fortune, and so we move the fortune to be the non-fungible tokens. Then I think the fortune is more valuable than before, and every adventure can be saved in every adventure can be saved on the second layer storage. So everything you do will exist forever. And we may design some incentive to let other nodes to run this game. Then our game will become 100% decentralized. Why is that so important? Because I have imagined some days if our teams won't run this game, how about the fortune? How about the item? How about the fortune? About the players? That is, if we use a decentralized ways, this game will never die. That is about our games, and one more thing is that for blockchain games, it's hard for newcomers to use it because it maybe it need a lot of things to run it. So we have done another things. We have created a app called Zilliqa Planet. In Zilliqa Planet, you can easily play that games, and you can easily play that games, and it also contains the NFT exchange, a decentralized NFT exchange that you can, after what you can sell what you get from the adventure, and that contains other NFT wallet. You can see all your digital venture. And so that is Zilliqa Planet, and that's I think. Another thing is that when you may ask when this games and when this app will launch, I have to say it has already launched, and it is well prepared, and you can download it from the App Store or Google. It is on the mainnet, so everything you get or everything you got is NFT. So you can just have a try. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tom. So I think he has shared a lot because he really did a lot. I think one thing he has not really shared is the team has been working for the past months and really working really hard, like sleepless for the past months, and they really built a lot of things, including the NFT market, including and they just kind of like rushed the game before, literally before he came to this event, and they successfully list their game on App Store and Google Play. So yeah, so I mean, Krypton is the team that we have seen. They have like really the fastest development cycle we have seen. So yeah, and we will release more details in terms of like where do you download the game, how do you play the game. So stay tuned. I will hand over the stage back to Mark.
Thank you, Sophia. So we're having our second anniversary, well, basically a birthday party. And it's been 2 years of really hard work, but it resulted in the first full-fledged sharding network. Well, now we've got it. What comes next? Amrit, where are you? Part 2.
Thank you. So me again. Let me talk. So this time it's not going to be technical. It's going to be slightly more businessy. So Sophia earlier talked about the verticals that we have been focusing for the last 1 or 2 years. The first vertical was digital advertising. Second was security token, where we have already applied for a license, and hopefully we'll get that very soon. The third one was entertainment, where we're looking for how to build blockchain-based games. If you look at all these games, all these verticals, there's one very common thing among all of these, and I would like to highlight that fact. So let's say if you have this advertising supply chain that works on a blockchain, at some point of time, you may want to do the settlement. So advertisers will have, at some point of time, advertisers will have to pay to the publishers. In the security exchange model, let's say you have a company that issues security tokens that resembles, or let's say that corresponds to private equities, for instance. And in that case, at some point of time, you may want to issue dividends. And again, in order to issue dividends, you need something that's payment. So you may want to issue payments. You may want to reward your shareholders in some form. And the third one is entertainment, where you also, when you are looking at a marketplace, you may want to buy certain things. And then again, you need a payment channel in some form. So they all need a payment interface, an interface that allows people to connect with traditional financial services and be able to integrate somehow seamlessly with the backend blockchain. And this is exactly what we are planning to look into in the coming future. And once you have a layer that allows you to interface with traditional financial services using payment solutions, you'd be able to build a lot of applications we can think of. You can enable commercial applications that are blockchain-backed, that I dub it as B-commerce. Now, at this end, I would like to announce our technical collaboration with a company called Xverse. And Xverse is a company which is very active in Southeast Asia, and they're building solutions to bridge the gap between enterprises and traditional financial services. So at this point in time, I would like to invite Samson, who is the Chief Legal Officer and co-founder of Xverse. Please welcome Samson.
Thank you, Abrid. Thank you, Amrit. Ladies and gentlemen of the community, so happy to have all of you all here join us as part of Zilliqa Day today. To the Zilliqa team, big thank you for having us here. Really honored here. I'm Samson Liu, co-founder of Xverse, and today I'm really excited to share with you an amazing technology partnership between Xverse and Zilliqa. If I could maybe just share a little bit about Xverse, followed by our growing pains, and then third, you would see why this partnership just makes sense for both of us. Our vision is to create the trusted digital financial ecosystem in Southeast Asia. And to that, we are very aligned with what Zilliqa is heading towards. And this partnership just makes sense there. For Xverse, we are really very excited this year that we finally, after a very long, I wouldn't go as far to say like 100 sleepless nights, maybe not as much as him, but we're really happy that earlier this year, we've gotten our MAS approval as a widely accepted stock value facility in Singapore. We are one of 5. You can see the other 4. The other 4 being your EasyLink card, the one that everyone has in their wallet, being your Nets Cash card, the one that you pay for the parking, and your Nets Flash Pay, which even I also don't have, and then your Capital Land Mall voucher, your Capital voucher. You see a common thread that goes between all 4, right? They're either linked to the government or they're huge. And so we are really excited when I say maybe I can suggest that Xverse is the first online, non-government linked, widely accepted stock value facility. So why do we go through all that? Because payments in Southeast Asia is difficult. The kind of payments that we are talking about in Southeast Asia where people don't even have credit cards, some may not, especially in emerging economies, they don't even have credit cards. The payments is difficult. And the payment difficulty is compounded the moment you start having complex payment flows. When we are talking about marketplaces, and you need to route payment from a certain way to a certain person with different rules, different limits, it starts to get very complicated very quickly. And that's what our business is. For us, with Xverse, we are cutting down your whole integration time from months to days. Why? Because we help you with this entire stack. Onboarding your customers, verifying, KYCing them, putting certain transaction limits, collecting the payments, integrating your payment sources, and that whole part, it's removed so that you can concentrate on launching your fintech platform or your marketplace. Why now, though? I know a lot of us, maybe we haven't really heard of Xverse, and that's okay because we are really in the background. We power the payment infrastructure for you, the clients, and maybe for some of the people in the community would know that you may be indirectly using our services when you are transacting with your counterparty. For us, we see a huge growth in the Southeast Asian market, in the payments industry. We're talking about $150 billion worth by 2025. And we see the next growth of complexity. It's not so easy just to be a PayPal, collect credit card, full stop, and call it a day. today customers demand more. Today businesses have to deliver more. And that's why we find that this is a very, very, very interesting market for us to go into. And how big is this market? We shared $150 billion, but looking even further at what our clients are able to do, we see that this is something that we'll really be able to help them with. And here is the full stack X-First payment solution, starting from a customer who is being onboarded and the KYC screening and the payments. If I had to put it to you, just think of it as three things. I collect money for you, I store the money for you, and then I send the money for you, right? So that's X-First business model, in a pinch. We are very blessed to have a lot of our partners join us in this journey. In 2018, we have processed $300 million worth of transactions. We have 500,000 end user accounts across both Singapore and Indonesia. And in 2018, on average, we are holding about $20 million worth of stored value. This is a very big obligation on us because we feel it is really our responsibility to ensure the security of the funds. Now, all this is well and good, like Sam, thanks, you have some great traction there. But the reality is not so simple. It's on one hand, we are facing some success in the take-up of our products. But then on the other hand, we are facing engineering headaches. So when I say that maybe we are not like Han-Wen stage, maybe that one's just me. My engineering team is facing problem number 2 every single day. Amrit shared earlier today about state locking, right? When you lock a state, this is exactly what is happening to us when we are starting to process more and more transactions, right? When user A tries to transact with merchant A, and imagine now all these users are submitting their purchase orders all at the same time, you face a situation where I have to lock user A and lock merchant A. I lock their accounts, lock the state in, before I can do this process, where I read, I check, I write, and then I unlock. And this happens sequentially. So you can imagine if there are 10,000 transactions, right? By the time I do the next one, by the time I finish the last one, either merchant A, merchant B's other users will have timed out already. And then they will say, hey, why I transacted? Why didn't my transaction? Why is it failing? It's because it has timed out. So this is an issue that we continue to face. And on the first point on transparency and auditability, this was when I alluded to this $20 million that, on average we are holding. But, I mean, I tell you, then you just have to take my word for it, right? But with Zilliqa, maybe not. Maybe you don't take my word for it. Maybe you just check the blockchain yourself. And that's why we work. That's why I'm so amazed. I'm so excited with this amazing technology partnership that we have with Zilliqa, because we are able to solve these two issues, the transparency and auditability issues, for 3 people: the users, and of course our enterprise customers. You can see your balance. You can see everyone's balance. You can check my smart contracts. For once, it's no longer a black box. You can check that the transaction contracts are going through as intended. The second set of people who can see the transparency will be my partnering banks, people who are backing the money. They want to see that my physical records, my ledger records are matching against what they see. And the third, I will even suggest maybe our regulators. Maybe even our regulators might have a greater insight into the transactions that we have. And that overall decreases the systemic risk of the financial industry here. And on the second issue of the scaling problem, we are really moving away from this fundamental thinking of where we have a centralized database and then we do transaction by transaction, we do state locking, and then do one by one until finish, to a more scalable state, a more scalable mechanism that brings us to the future. And why Zilliqa? I mean, we've looked at other blockchain solutions, most obvious of which is the Ethereum. But we looked at Zilliqa, and what really won us over was 3 things: the speed, the scale, the security. When I talk about speed, let me share a little bit about the green part, which is the chain itself, and I'll share a little bit more about the yellow part, which is the Scila language. When I say about speed, we know that the chain is fast, right? Amrit, Yao Qi, they have shared with you that we are talking about 3,000 or 2,800 transactions per second, and that's insane, you know, that's an insane number, and it scales linearly. And lastly, it's secure. I think in anything, you want your money, you want to make sure your transactions are authorized, you want to make sure that the integrity of the transactions hold true. Now, onto the Scila programming language. When I say speed, I'm saying it's fast to learn because my engineers code on Ruby. I'm saying it's fast to build because there's a logical construct and you can use it. You don't just program any way you like. There's a certain method to follow, and it's built into the design of Scila. So it makes it fast to build. And then last, it makes it fast to check. We can't have a bug that causes you all to lose your money. That wouldn't be very nice. So we have to make sure every time the smart contracts are being programmed, it is checked. And that leads on to the security point, where if Scila is built with the security principles from the get-go, in the first instance, it makes it in by design. It makes it so much easier. And with that, I think Xverse and Zilliqa, we are really happy to have gotten on this journey together. We want to see where else, apart from just our transaction processing, where else can we apply this blockchain technology to? Where else would we work in our entire ecosystem of products? And of course, Amrit will say, coming soon. Xverse will say, you know, coming soon. But thank you so much for your support. Have a great Zilliqa day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samson. A huge thank you to every single one of the speakers who came here today to tell us about everything that they've been working on and everything that Zilliqa has been working on so hard for over the last 2 years. I think today was a really good indication of how when you put people together with technology, amazing people together with amazing technology, what you have is just truly remarkable. And you know, we think that blockchain is just in the beginning, and Zilliqa has had such an opportunity to be a game-changing contributor to that. And I think the best news is that it's just the beginning.
Yes, it's just the beginning. So what will happen? Obviously, at some point, some of us will go home tonight, go in their beds, maybe not, a little bit later. And tomorrow, a new day will start. At some point, maybe in 10 months, you maybe will receive another invitation for our 3rd anniversary. But that doesn't mean that we won't be doing anything in between. Yep. Because the building will be continuously. But also, we launched our mainnet, we enabled transactions, and recently we enabled smart contracts. So basically this means we're in business. Yes. And this also means that within the coming days, weeks, months, the drum rolls will become louder for Zilliqa. We're not particularly known for being that loud, but this will change. Thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you to every single one of you, our partners, everyone who's believed in us, everyone who's watching from the live stream. Hi, guys. And thank you all once again for taking the time and hearing out.
Thank you.